right, good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. We are finishing off the topic of that of for sale by owners. With that being said, for those of you that are joining us over on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, welcome. I will encourage you, of course, to come join us over here on Zoom, as the entire purpose is, of course, to get some role play in. And today will be the last day of the year that we're going to be going over scripts, going over role play. We'll be answering questions, and then we'll be going dark for 2 weeks. And it'll be the only time of the year that I get 2 weeks off. So, but neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and move forward. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in. Go ahead and ask them. Feel free to join us over on Zoom and ask them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the notes so that we can all be on the same page. All right, so we've been talking about previews. I want to park here for just a little bit, and I want us to make sure that we understand how do we set it up, what does it look like, all of those good things, because unfortunately, previews aren't always done in the most ideal fashion. Ideal fashion. Excuse me. So in that, we talked about some focal points. Focal point one, focal point two. Again, most of the focal point one and versus two only makes sense when we are in a very, very slow market. There's a bunch of, for sale by owners, there's a bunch of expireds. Right now might be definitely something we want to focus on for expireds during this time of the year, because there is actually quite a bit of an amount of expireds. FSBOs, the market is slow, but it's not super duper slow. So in that, focal point number one, again, it's your top 3 zip codes. Number 2 is your top 3 cities. Why do we separate them? Again, just subject to as the economy is doing, the real estate market, I'm sorry, as the real estate market is doing. It also creates a sense of integrity, meaning if a property shows up in either of those 2 focal points, I want you to go out and knock on those doors. Okay, so I want you to go out there, knock on those doors, and create that relationship with them. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to set up previews. And in setting up those previews, I want you to go out there as quickly as you possibly can. And why do we do those previews? The main reason we do those previews is simply because of the fact that I want to separate myself from the competition. I want to be in a position where I elevate myself versus the other 100, 200, 300 other realtors. Okay, so I want to be in that position. Now, with that being said, is there anybody have any questions, any comments, any concerns?
I have a question, but more regarding to a buyer.
Uh,
So I captured a buyer and he wanted me to show him one property. So I
mm,
showed him one property and then we scheduled a
Oh my
BRBC
God.
meeting.
Yes.
And then also after that, he wanted like payment examples and program examples, and I gave him that. And then I found a property that I know I could negotiate at this time for a lower amount because I spoke to the listing agent and kind of pre-negotiated a little bit. So I reran those numbers and sent them to him. And I said, better yet, I could get you into this home. Are you ready to sign your BRBC and I can schedule a showing? So then after that, he didn't like it and he said no.
you
So I
didn't
said,
you
well,
didn't
I
like the
can't do
home, or you
more.
didn't like the price?
He didn't like that he had to sign a BRBC.
Okay,
And
got it.
so he kept pushing we're going to wait until after the holidays, but if you find us a good deal, then I may consider. And I said, well, I think this is a really good deal because this neighborhood actually goes for more. It's just I happen to know the seller needs to sell, and this would be great to negotiate now. It'll put you at the March deadline. But then he's like, you know what? I don't think your services are going to be a match. It's just I feel like agents should be able to open doors.
Mhm.
And I said, well, agents do more than just open doors. There's a lot that happens behind that. And so he just said, thank you very much. I don't think it's going to be a fit.
Yeah, and that's okay. So that's the part of the standards, and I have no problem in regards to that. So the first thing we have to do, we want to make sure, number one is we're going through the qualification process. If it's a referral, if it's somebody that we have inquired from our prospecting, if it's somebody that has come to us in regards to wanting to purchase a home, we're going to go through a certain protocol. Now, this is a little bit away from the FISBO, so I'm going to be very, very short, very brief, and get right to the point. Now, with a buyer, we're going to get them over to the lender. We're also going to do a buyer consultation. And in that buyer consultation, after they've been qualified with a lender, if they're paying cash, no worries. You go right into the buyer consultation. And in that buyer consultation, what you're going to do is you're going to go through, you're going to present, this is what I do, this is how I do it, this is when we're going to do this, these are the expectations, these are the standards as to the way that I work. And then with that being said, are you ready to hire me and put me to work? Yes, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and send you basically the BRBC. And in that BRBC, you don't really, in a sense, make it a big deal. You just simply say this contract basically states that I'm going to be representing you as your agent exclusively. And if they don't sign it, there you go. I'm sorry, I don't work that way. I am not going to go out there and put people in a car. I'm not going to invest my time, energy, or effort to go and open doors, as they call it, and then waste our time. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We want to create that standard. And if they're not in agreement with that, it's no different than a listing. And again, this is a rhetorical question. I'm not expecting you to answer. But if a seller says, "Hey, I want you to sell my house. I don't want to sign a contract though, but I do want you to spend tons of money in regards to marketing. I want you to hold open houses. I want you to do all this other stuff, but I don't want to sign a contract." Would we work with them? Probably not. So why are we doing it with buyers in the exact same instance? I don't want to open one door until they sign that contract. Now, there is a little bit of an exception to that. A little bit of the exception to that is, of course, for those of you guys that do buy business, I have a team. We do actually have a Zillow account as an example. And in that, we go show them the one home or the two homes that one day, that's the risk. But immediately after that, we retract, we go back to the drawing board, and we make sure we do a buyer consultation before we go out in a second round of showings. So I want to make sure that that is the protocol. And if they don't sign it, Beatrice, be okay with walking away from it, because these are the people that they're going to run you around. You're going to go show them 10, 20, 30, 50 homes. They're not going to write any offers. And then you're going to end up getting disappointed because they ended up using their cousin, somewhere else to write the offer. So be okay with that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It is a little discouraging. It is a little disappointing, especially when we look at the price point. This person's qualified for $1.2 million at 2.5% commission. Wow, that's a $30,000 paycheck that's waiting for me. Well, is it? Because their intent wasn't that in the first place. So you have to be okay with it. Okay. Now, any other questions? Anything else anyone else has that I can address? All right.
So Robert,
Go
I
ahead,
have a
Teresa.
question.
Mhm.
Like if I was showing a client a house and somebody walk up and say, "Oh, I really want to see this house. Can I please take a look?" Um, there was situation I have said yes, and I feel really, taken advantage of, or whatever after. And there's a other situation that I didn't, and I feel bad. So, I mean, I'm the kind of person that I don't want to be rude to people. So I honestly, I'm like at this point, I don't know how the best approach. So I would like to ask for your suggestion.
Absolutely. So there is what I call as a risk, a calculated risk. I'm sorry. And in that calculated risk, as an example, I'm no longer in Rancho Cucamonga. Average price point over there was around 700,000. Now I'm in Visalia, and in Visalia, our average price point here is 425. So if somebody calls me and says, "Hey, Robert, I want to go see this property that's 30 minutes away and it's listed at a great price at 275. Will you show me the home?" No, I won't. Okay, we got to go through certain protocol. But if they call us and they say, "Hey, you know what? We want to take a look at the $750,000 home in Visalia that's only 5 minutes down the street." Sure, why not? Let's go take a look at it. Let's go open the house. Let's see if it's a fit for you. So it has to be a calculated risk, and you're going to have to determine where you're going to draw that line. Okay, there is no right, there is no wrong. I guess if anything, it's probably on the erring of the wrong side. It's just opening doors for everybody that tells you without having any sort of protocol. Okay,
See.
so you'll have to determine where is the calculated risk. I will not drive 30 minutes to go show a house that's $275,000. It's just not worth our time. But if it's 5 minutes down the street and it's 800,000, sure, yeah, let's go take a look at it. So you'll have to determine whether or not what is that drawing that line for you. Okay, for me, my standard has always been if I don't make $10,000 minimum on a transaction, I don't work it. That's just my standard. You'll have to know
Mhm.
what your standard is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about previews because we are addressing some important things, but we are talking about for sale by owners, and I want to make sure that we do stay on topic with for sale by owners previews. When do we preview? We want to preview as quickly as we possibly can. Again, remember focal point one and focal point number two, you want to get out there as soon as possible today if you can, because it's going to separate you amongst your competition. Over the phone here where I'm at now, I don't necessarily prospect anywhere near the amount that I used to, but if I did, I would venture to say I'm probably competing with about 50 to 75 realtors for sale by owners. Okay, that's probably a rough estimation. But if I go and introduce myself in person, Lizette and I, we go and do a preview. Well, we're probably now only two, three, maybe four realtors that visited this for sale banner. So it separates you from your competition. Number one. Number two, it allows you the opportunity to have a more personable conversation. To sit there and have a conversation and try to ask them questions over the phone, there's always a sense of hesitation. Whereas you have them right here in front of you, you can have that conversation. They're not going to grab you by your shirt and kick you out. It's going to be a way more genuine conversation. Body language is now taking place. You can see whether they're smiling. You can see whether they're frowning. You can see the body language that's taking place. So it allows us that opportunity. And because of that, we can ask deeper questions. And the deeper questions that we're asking is always going to be about motivation. Remember that. We know that. That's the point. We go out there, we ask more about motivation. Let them show you the home. Okay. All you're doing is just they're going to want you to show the home anyways. Let them show you the home, walk around with them, use that 10, 15 minutes to engage in conversation again about motivation, not about, oh, wow, I'm so glad you actually painted that one wall. None of that. Just cool. Awesome. Great job. Hey, let me ask you though, and you keep the conversation going. Okay. Now, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to just simply turn that preview into a listing presentation, because that's one way you can piss off these for sale by owners. Hey, you know what? Now that I'm here, let's go ahead and talk about what I can do to help you. No, that's not what they want. However, you do have to have a transition. And in that transition, which kind of seems like I'm speaking from both sides of the mouth, and in that transition, I already seen the home. I already asked all the questions. I'm clear on their motivation. And I go at the very end, John, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to show me around. I know I can be of some help. I know I can help you guys get into this next home. I know I can maximize the profits on the sale of this home. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. Okay. I'd love the opportunity to share with you the techniques that I use to sell homes. Are you familiar with the techniques that I use? You don't. I'd love the opportunity to share that with you. We could do this now, okay? Or I can always come back later today at 3 o'clock. When would you like to do this? And if there's any sort of resistance, hey, I told you we're not turning this into a listing presentation. I told you blah, 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 all this other stuff. Mm, okay, hey, not a problem. Thank you for making the time. Let's stay in touch. I'll check back with you. Today's Thursday. I'll check back with you probably on Monday or Tuesday and just see how everything went. Okay, no worries. And then in the meantime, I'm going to try to see if I can find a buyer or two for your home. Okay, let's stay in touch. Or you do your job, you close, and then all of a sudden they say, well, what do you got? Let's see what you have. Be prepared. Always be closing. Always be prepared. You should have a sales kit. You should have your tablet. And in your sales kit, remember, you should have a listing contract. You should have a purchase contract. You should have a BRBC. You should have all of the necessary tools and or basically contracts to create that relationship. Whether it's the randomness, and this I've done a handful of times where I'm showing a home to client A, and then we're done with viewing homes. I'm getting into the car, and all of a sudden, this random client B shows up and he goes, hey, are you the agent for that home? No, I'm not, but are you in the market? Well, yeah, we kind of like the house. Any chance we can see it? Absolutely. Come on in. Let's go take a look at it. And then I show them the home and they go, well, what do we got to do to buy the home? At that point in time, perfect. I got a contract. Let's get this written up. Okay. Now I don't know whether they qualify or don't qualify. That's irrelevant of the point in that moment. I took a calculated risk and then come to find out, yep, they're qualified. Perfect. Let's go ahead and open escrow. Let's get this thing wrapped up. So I always want you guys to be ready, whether it's a buyer, a random buyer, or going out and knocking on doors, and that's going to happen sometimes. And they say, hey, well, we're thinking about selling our house. You know, what do you do to sell homes? I've done that before. Okay. You do it often enough, you're going to knock on doors, you're going to come across people that are interested right at that moment. You're going to do your 2 doors a day, as I've said, whether it's a FISBO or expired. You're going to get the people. I took a listing 2 years ago in Fontana where it wasn't expired, knocked on the door, and the guy actually said, well, hey, yeah, I'm in the market for an agent. The last couple agents that came by, they didn't speak any Spanish, and I'm looking for a Spanish agent. Perfect. I speak Spanish. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation. 30 minutes later, boom, signed a contract. You got to be ready. Okay, is my point. All right, let's go ahead and go over to role play. Any questions, comments, concerns, observations? Any questions that we have? Let's take a look. Andre, Lizette. All right. Well, we have a question over on Instagram. Sylvia's asking, thank you for the question, Sylvia. What's the best script for expired scripts? I've been cold calling with no success. Send me a DM. I'll get you the scripts and I'll share with you exactly the script for expireds. Okay, so we'll go over that in more detail. All right, any other questions on any of the other platforms?
So Robert, my biggest challenge is
Uh,
to be able to connect with the seller when I'm inside a house. I pretty much like it's tough for me. I'm kind of frozen. I just listen to what the seller said, and I respond, and comment to what they have said. But then I've kind of got stuck, and I didn't know where to go next. And so I was very close with one seller, and I lost the listing because they end up hiring another agent. So I felt like I don't know where I understand the problem, but I just have challenge of overcoming it myself.
Yeah, you have to stay on script because when we sit there and just randomly ask questions and shoot from the hip, the script is the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish. So as we're going through, let me give you an example. So I come into your home, Teresa, and I have my clipboard and I have it right here, right in front of me. And you're walking me around, you're showing me the home, and then I go through and I say, Teresa, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and your husband making time to show me around. Now I know you mentioned to me your goal is to get over to San Diego, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what part of San Diego are you guys wanting to move to?
La Jolla.
La Jolla. Okay, got it. So you're wanting to get down to La Jolla, and I think you had mentioned to me you wanted to be there by the beginning of the year. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And my job is waiting for me. And my boss had been bugging me to move down there to
Oh,
work in person.
yeah, we got to get you out there. And as we're walking, we're going to the next bedroom. Oh, I love what you did here. So you told me about your boss and wanting to be out there. Are you supposed to be out there already?
Yes, and I have postponements with my boss two
Okay.
times. So I think at this time, if I'm gonna postpone again, they're gonna reconsider my role. So I
Oh.
really need to be out there by the end of January.
Oh, so you got to be out there as quickly as you can. So by being out there at the end of the January, if in case the home doesn't sell, what's your plan then?
I guess I would have to rent it out or
Oh,
do something, but I would like to get the money so I can purchase the other home in San Diego.
yeah,
I heard
absolutely.
people said price gonna go up in the spring as well, so I'm kind of super nervous about this selling.
Yeah, I totally get it and I understand. Mr. Thatch, how about you? How do you feel about the idea of renting this place? Yeah, you don't like it either? I totally get it. Now, what's waiting for you when you get over to La Jolla, Mr. Thatch? Oh, got it. Perfect. You're there to support your wife. That's awesome. That's honorable. I totally appreciate that. So, would it be safe to say, guys, that your motivation on a scale of 1 to 10 is about a 10?
It's 10, definitely more
Yeah,
than
we really
10.
don't want to rent this place out. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Okay, got it. Well, I really love what you guys did with the kitchen. I mean, it's a great setup. How long ago did you guys update the kitchen, by the way?
We updated
Oh,
5 years ago.
okay. Wow. Okay, so that's not too bad. It looks pretty new to me. So you guys definitely did a great job. Now, share with me some of the techniques you guys are using. Do you see with what I'm doing?
Yeah. I
Okay,
see.
I'm
Get
not just
more
sitting there having a
detail too.
conversation and oh my gosh, this is a nice house and I'm a great agent and I know I can help you and oh, you guys have 3 kids. That's great. Oh, those kids are old now. Oh, okay, they don't even live with you anymore. Oh, okay, so then that's an old picture. Like, no, it's just using this as the purpose of the conversation.
Got it. That's the way you said earlier sound exactly like me. I feel myself even like so frivolous. I feel
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I am so,
Uh,
like I didn't feel the any value of myself that I created with the seller. And
yeah.
even they don't list with me. I said, "Oh, well, no wonder, because I didn't
Yeah.
create anything that tangible."
And that's my
Thank
point,
you.
Teresa, is basically putting yourself in a position when you're going through having a conversation, show me the house. I love with what you guys did
Hmm.
there, the kitchen. Are you guys planning on doing any other updates, by the way? Oh, you're not. It's selling it as is. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. And then you pull one of the questions, you fill out the information, and if they go, "Hey, what are you writing over there?" Well, one of my jobs is to make sure that I have a clear understanding with what you're trying to accomplish. So what I did is I prepared some questions in advance just to make sure that I know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, well, that's fair. You did that for me? Yeah, I did. I just want to make sure that I'm being thorough in with what it is that you're wanting to accomplish. I mean, after all, if you were to hire a realtor, I would imagine you'd want a realtor that knows exactly what you're trying to accomplish, right? Well, yeah, of
Yes.
course. Perfect. And then you just continue. Show me around, show me around. Wow, big backyard. I love it. Okay. You guys understand with what we're doing? All of this is with what I'm talking about is what we do at a preview. Okay, we don't talk about anything else but this. And the questions between the questions, the secondary questions, again, those are the questions that are about them. Who, what, when, where, why, how, and if. Lizette, any insights in regards to anything that we're talking about?
Yeah, I appreciate you being vulnerable, Teresa. I think that's a lot of the time too, whenever you're going in there and not knowing like what to say. The script does help you at least have some guidance or an outline as to, okay, this is what I ask next. Um, and so I do feel like that will help a lot. And that way you're still being you, you're still being able to connect, but then you also have your direction of, okay, this is the purpose of why I'm here, and you're there to genuinely help them. And so just this gives you a little bit more guidance as to what you should ask. That way you can get the most information from them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, people love it. Here's the thing is that we understand there's an old saying, we have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. Hey, there was a situation with a client that Lizette and I had here not too long ago. And this guy was basically, wanting to sell an investment property. I got on the phone and all I simply did is ask a question and it was probably 3 to 5 second question, and he would talk for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Awesome. I love with what you said there. You're trying to accomplish this, blah, blah, blah. Next question. That was 3 to 5 seconds. And then he'd talk again for another 30 seconds to a minute. And that's how the rhythm of a conversation should be. I should be talking for about 5, 10, 15 seconds to ask a question or more for a little bit of clarity. The next thing is that of course getting them to respond. And in their response, it should be a lot longer. Now, when we ask close-ended questions, that's where we end up stumping ourselves. Okay. Are you going to San Diego? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, what next question do I ask? Okay. What part of San Diego is that you're wanting to get to? Well, I mean, ideally, we'd like to be in this part of town. We're kind of leaning more towards this direction, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's great. That's awesome. Is there a certain city that you have in mind or prefer? Or is there a hierarchy based on what you just mentioned to me? Okay. All right.
I think
Well,
another thing, just to chime in on it too, is just being genuinely curious. Like, be that nosy person. If you're not naturally a nosy person, be very curious. Okay, so where are you going to? What's taking you there? Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's fun, and just kind of like be a little bit, get interested as to what they're saying. And obviously you have your reasoning as to why you're getting all this information, but generally be curious as to what's taking them there, how are they getting there, Um, I think that will help put on that hat when you're there with the sellers.
absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you, Lizette. I just listened to what you said earlier. One thing that I find really helpful is you said, think about the purpose you're there. And also the way you talk about like asking the questions and you sound really genuine. Like I listened to you, even like the way you said it. I felt like, oh, this person really interested in me. And that's what I need to learn to, be mindful about the purpose I'm there. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And even I've used this as a tool myself, is I literally print it out. I put get curious on a page and I put it right in front of me when I'm making calls, and just being curious will help a lot.
Absolutely. And in that, I think the one thing too is that we also have to understand that there is a little bit of a personality shift for some of us, okay, including myself. Most of the time, I'm pretty stoic. I'm just that guy that's a little bit direct. I'm a little bit short in regards to my responses. Kind of borderline. Some people will say it's rude. I'm just direct. I'm a direct person. And I don't really go into too much detail. That's just the way that I am. I have most of the time I have a little bit of a stern face. My point with what I'm trying to make is that when we are jovial, when we are getting outside of our comfort zone, when Robert is outside of his, that version of an introvert, and being jovial with the other person on the other side, it lightens the situation. And especially in sales situations, nobody wants this stoic, direct person because it comes across rude. So I have to be less Robert and more them. And even then, being more of them, it's about being also a little bit of in that jovial, keeping things light, maybe even cracking a little bit of a joke. Be careful because I've had some tasteless jokes. So, but some of the dad jokes don't really work all the time. But trying to keep it light. And one thing that it's funny, Lizette and I will do at sometimes, and I'll say my little joke, and I'm like, oh well, that didn't work. That's the 1 or 2 out of 10 because the other 8 or 9, most of the time they end up working, getting the other person to laugh. But let's we got some time. Let's get somebody else. Who else wants to give it a shot and do a quick little role play?
I'll do one. It's
Let's do it.
Beatrice.
Beatrice, go for it.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. I'm Beatrice, local realtor, and I was calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
It is.
Hi. Well, I help a lot of FISBOs in the area, and I was wondering, when you sell this home, where are you planning on going to next?
Well, it's an investment property. We're looking to just move the money over to a little bit of a bigger project.
Got it. And what does that project look like?
Well, right now this is a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. We're hoping to take the money from here and move it over to at least a duplex, just to continue to just build equity and cash flow.
Oh, okay, very good. And what would be the benefit of getting that additional cash flow?
Just growing the real estate portfolio.
Very smart. Okay. So how soon do you want to make this sale?
Not really a rush. We just want to get it done sooner than later. So I'm going to need to 1031 exchange this thing, and then just simply move the money over to another place I have in mind. I have a couple of options, but I can't do that until I get this place sold.
Okay. Have you spoken to 1031 companies? What companies have you
Uh,
spoken to?
I do. I actually have a company that serviced my last 1031.
Very nice. So you must be an experienced investor then.
Not really experienced. This is my second time doing it, but sure, I have some.
Well, you're on to the right track, that's for sure. It'll
Mhm.
definitely help you avoid capital gains and move on and increase your investment. How would you rate your motivation? I know you said you're really not in a rush. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you call it?
It's pretty close. It's pretty up there. I would say probably around an 8 or a 9.
Okay. And how are you currently marketing this home?
Okay, good. Let's stop right there. So I can see your mind. I can sense your mind working in a direction of trying to look for some alternative questions. One of the games that I would play with myself when I would go through a similar situation, Beatrice, is I would go through and I would just throw a random word up in the air. I would go, okay, where? Where is it that you're wanting to move your money to? Where is it that you're looking for some duplexes? Or you mentioned that there was some units that you had in mind. Where is it that you're wanting to get over to? How? How important is selling this place and moving the money over to somewhere else? So in other words, the point with what I'm trying to make, Beatrice, is putting yourself in a position where you're just simply throwing a word, who, what, when, where, why, and then taking it from there. Why is selling this property now at this time of the year versus any other time important for you? Mission Viejo of all places that you're wanting to move your monies to? I don't know. I'm just using some random examples. I'm a little bit rusty in regards to what I'm trying to mention. But the point of it was I would practice, and the practice would show up just by simply throwing a word up instead of just, okay, 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 okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Lizette, any insights? Anything else you can give Beatrice?
I was trying to unclick. Yes, I see what you're saying, and I definitely was playing that to try to find. So I definitely know I need to practice, and I am writing all these down, as many as I can.
Mhm. Good. Okay. Lizette, any other
Yeah, I
insights?
think she did a great job at doing better at asking the open-ended questions. And I noticed how you like started it with what, and then you kind of like thought about it. But I think just to the normal person, common person, they're not going to notice that. But obviously, as we're talking about it, I noticed it a little bit. But I think that's on the right track. So it sounds a lot better now that you're asking the open-ended questions.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Teresa, let's take a look, has one last question. Since the seller is mentioning that he has a 1031 exchange prior, would it be a good time to ask the seller at this time about who was the agent who helped them in the past? Absolutely not. We don't want to ask that. We don't want to open up that can of worms because all of a sudden we go, who was the agent? Well, that was Joe Schmo. As a matter of fact, now that we're talking about Joe, Joe's a great agent. You know what? I should reach out to Joe. No, we don't want to open up that can of worms. It's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what we're doing at this moment. I'm glad you have the experience with the previous 1031 exchange company. Again, focus on the motivation. Where is it you're wanting to move your money to? Okay, because that goes back to the facts, the figures, the logic, and we don't need to go into that direction because what's the point of me sitting here talking to Lizette about her exes? Makes no there's no purpose. Okay, we move on, we move forward, we talk about with whatever it is that they're wanting to accomplish. You guys got that? All right, everybody. Let's finish off the year strong. We got a couple of weeks left. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Whatever you celebrate, best wishes, happy holidays to everyone. And I will see you guys next year. Let's finish the year strong. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.